you tell me about the day in the life of an artist with a family?
Well, it's definitely very different from the way I used to work.
Let's start with the way you used to work.
I'd work all night. I would just. I'm more of a night owl just by my very nature, and so at one point, at my craziest, I was working on Spider-Man, and I moved myself to a 25-hour day. And so I would rotate every day. It was down 1 hour. And so by the time it was time to go to bed, my head would hit the pillow and I was out cold. And so I got really good sleep, and then I wake up and keep drawing. And this is, for an extended period of time. And that's what it took for me to hit those deadlines. But that's a book where I was penciling, inking, and coloring, just because I'm insane. And but I had a good time on it. That's kind of the problem, is that I like doing it, but I'm just not the fastest.
How many hours a day would you put in?
All of them. I don't. Yeah, it's not really a question of like, I keep pretty good track of my hours now, and I sort of did then, but it really was like, let's see, the worst was 2003. I took a shower every other day, and I did not go outside. That was pretty gross. That was probably the worst it ever was. But that's when I was painting comics. So that was, I stopped doing that in 2006 because it was just too insane. I think I did a 22-page painted comic in 3.5 months. Maybe it was less than that. I can't remember. It's been too long. But I remember when I finished, I don't think I'd ever felt that good before, because I hadn't seen the sun. And I walked outside. I just took a walk around the neighborhood. Although I had a pounding headache because I was using oil paints and I was just doing it in my room, which I shouldn't have been doing. And so instead of taking it out of my room to dry, I left it in there because I was exhausted. I crawled up to my loft bed and just breathed in those fumes all night. That kind of high is not the good one. That's turpentine, and it is not good for you. Doesn't give you any kind of high. Just pounds away at your brain. I couldn't keep up with deadlines, and they had just offered me Daredevil, and it was going to be a deal where we were doing a few issues on, a few issues off with Marcos Martin, but I still wasn't confident that I could produce an issue every 7 weeks. If my dad was helping me, I knew we could do it. And he wasn't as busy because in 2008, when the economy crashed, his work doing custom motorcycles, that was just super dependent on a lot of building contractors. They would buy motorcycles, that kind of stuff. So when their business dried up, his business dried up. And he still does that, but it's just not at the levels it was in the early 2000s. I knew he could ink. That wasn't the issue. I just had to show him how to use Photoshop, how to scan something, how to put it in Dropbox so I could have the file. And we've been working the same way ever since.
Let's talk about how things changed when the family came around and how that affected your...
Well, I got married in 2013, and I moved in with my now wife back in 2011. And so as soon as I did that, I did try and keep her schedule, just so she didn't hate me. And I've kind of stuck to that ever since. And then what's nice about my job is that it's pretty much flexible as long as I can control my hours, or can control my deadlines rather. The job is super flexible. So I take my daughter to daycare, and my wife has a regular 9-to-5 job. So it's easy for me to, if my daughter needs to be at something, I can always go. And then my wife has the guaranteed paycheck, which is nice as well. So it's nice kind of having that mix. I tell people that when they ask for advice, it's like, draw from life and also marry someone who has a real job.